series, Five Blends Discoveries with Russ Willett.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. You know, we're going to go.
Go.
Hey, Russ.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You?
Oh, it's a beautiful rainy Monday here in Pennsylvania.
I like rainy Mondays because, well, I like any rainy day where I'm not working, where you can have a smoke and just chill. And thing is, do you still have a smoke? Do you still chill, or you're just busy?
Up until a certain time of day, I'm busy, and in the evenings, I try to find a little time to kick back.
And so when you do kick back, let's say you smoke a cigar or a pipe, do you have anything on, like your iPad or TV or radio, or do you just chill in your chair and that's it?
Depends on the day. You know, if I've still got a bunch of stuff on my mind, I'll go and have a smoke, and I'll check my phone.
Right. Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
I
So
mean, pretty much everything that I use for work is also on my phone.
that's too bad for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a smartwatch,
Well,
and whenever a notification for a work email comes in, I get it on my watch and on my phone, and pretty soon there will be something in my pillow that will wake me up at 3 a.m. You know.
yeah. Yeah. And you're going to get a neurological implant soon that you're going to be hooked up 100%. You're
Yeah,
stressing me out. You're stressing me out.
it's on its way. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'll be dead by then.
Well, I don't want to say. I
Yeah,
don't want to say nothing. That's a,
yeah,
that's
okay,
that's a trap.
okay.
Okay, so look, Russ, thank you for starting this new thing with me because I'm hyperactive. I think about many things, and if it happens, it happens. So today we're talking about five blends, and we're gonna dissect these five blends. And um, it's a dissection. It's not a critique that I want, because basically, whether you like it or not has no bearing on anything. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful, because you are a master blender. I just mean it to say that maybe you like more salt in your soup and I don't.
Yeah, I have done reviews on cigars, and because I don't blend cigars, I feel okay giving a review.
A review, that means you're giving your opinion.
Yeah,
Mm.
um, but I never do it with pipe tobacco.
Okay, because this is not that type of thing.
Right.
This is We're dissecting it. I'm gonna show you. I have five blends here, and it's like, what is this all about? Okay, so
Yep.
let's go with our first. I'm
I'll
sorry.
give I'll give you a breakdown and what people can expect, and that's pretty much what it'll come down to.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got questions like the components.
Yep.
How is it made? What are the expected smells of that blend?
Hmm.
Uh, do you know anybody in the company? But we can talk about that. Uh, Pit smells is the same thing. Why the certain cut of that tobacco, of that blend, and who's gonna like this? Simple,
Okay.
easy. Okay.
Okay.
So my
Okay.
first one, Russ, is a Scudo.
Okay.
Now, what's this all about?
It's probably the benchmark for Virginia Perique blends. Has been for a long time. Made in Denmark. Um, and here there's kind of a personal um, connection here, because it's made by a division of the same company I work for,
Which is
Scandinavian Tobacco Group.
STG.
Yep, and our company is owned by STG. But this is really if you're a Virginia Perique fan and you haven't smoked the Scudo, you're missing something, because this really is something that I gauge other Virginia Perique blends by.
Okay.
It is a variety of different shades of Virginia along with Perique, and then it's spun into a log and sliced and presented that way. Um, it is slightly above medium when it comes to the neck hit,
Okay.
but that's more because of the types of Virginias that they use. The Perique facilitates the absorption of nicotine, but it's not particularly high in nicotine by itself. But if you use a variety of Virginias and you include some Virginias that are a little heftier, meaning that they either come from a source like Africa. African Virginias tend to be higher in nicotine, or if they're from another source, they could just be using the tips. And so the tips, we're talking about the top third of the plant. And those leaves always have a little higher nicotine content than the rest of the Virginia plant.
Let me ask you a question, Russ, before you go on. So this company is gonna just get the tips of the plant. That's more expensive.
Well, they don't just get the tips, they buy everything and then it's sorted at the
I see.
factory.
I see. Well,
So,
still, there's
so that
manual labor.
the middle group, which are called leaf, and the bottom leaves, which are called cutter, these will be used. For example, cutter you can use in aromatics, because really the flavoring is what you're looking for there. You're not looking for the flavor of the tobacco. So, but still, yes, it is a little pricier to use tips. Um, but it has, as I said, it's a little bit above medium in terms of the strength of the blend. It has all of the flavors you would expect from a Virginia Perique blend. It has some hay and grass and a little citrus. It also has some bread and toast mixed in. And then, of course, you get the pruny flavor of the Perique, and maybe just a little bit of spice because of it. Um, and it's a very nice choice also, because being a spun cut, you can prepare it in a lot of different ways. If you prefer to smoke a ribbon, then just take a couple of coins and rub them out and pack them. Yeah. Um, you can fold and stuff if you're the kind of person who likes a long smoke. Or if you're the kind of person who likes a minimum of muss and fuss while you're smoking, you can chop those coins up into cubes. And then all you do is drop them into the chamber, give them a tamp, light it up, and go.
Now, if when you cut them up in cubes, and when you stuff them in, you fold it and all that, is there a longer drying time you need to smoke that tobacco?
It depends. If you're sensitive to the moisture content, yeah, of course it's going to take longer because the tobacco is compressed.
Right.
We have a brand of tobaccos called Cascadia Pipe Company, and the Cascadia tobaccos are all plugs, and it's advertised as a brand for people who do a lot of camping and hiking and fishing and are outdoors a lot, because when you press a plug, that tobacco will stay fresher longer because it's all one piece. So you have limited amount of surface area to allow the moisture to escape. So yeah, whenever you have a compressed tobacco, whether it's a plug or a flake or a coin, it's going to take a little longer to dry out. So where it may be a half an hour to an hour for a ribbon cut, you might want to give it a couple 3 hours of dry time.
Any bite with the Sescudo?
Not bite in the true sense of the word bite. Bite's more of a chemical thing.
Okay.
Will it nip you with heat? Yeah, it's a Virginia Perique. They
Now,
all will.
Does that have to do with drying?
No, it has to do as much with the sugar content of Virginia.
Okay.
Virginia will burn hot, so if you puff just a little too hard, you're going to have heat issues.
I got you. Okay. I want to keep this like a 10, 12 minutes per blend, because or else we're going to be here all night, and I got a concert to go see tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right.
Okay. So look, my second blend, if I remember correctly, and I tried to pick for this episode, I tried to pick blends that are well known. Okay. So St. Bruno.
Okay.
What's going on with St. Bruno?
Well, this is a long time blend. People who smoked it in the 60s and 70s are going to find that today's St. Bruno's a bit different because it's being made by a different company today than it used to be. It used to be Ogden's, and today it's being made by McMarron.
Really, I would never have thought.
Yeah, it's fundamentally a Virginia Burley blend, and it has a unique top note. It definitely shares some similarities with some of the Lakeland tobaccos.
You got it, baby.
It does. It's not as in your face as a lot of those.
No.
If I were to compare it to any of the Lakelands,
by Samuel Gawith, you're thinking of.
It's Samuel Gawith and Hogarth. It's lighter than, let's say, Innerdale, which is pretty in your face. But it definitely does have that floral type of flavoring. I enjoy St. Bruno myself, but that's I'm one of those people who appreciates the uniqueness of the Lakeland tobaccos, but a lot of people don't. And if you're not an aromatic fan, number one, and if you don't appreciate the old time types of tobaccos, you probably want to avoid St. Bruno's.
But I wouldn't call this an aromatic, Russ.
Technically it is, because when you smoke it, you get more of the added flavorings than you do the natural tobacco flavor. And so to me, and especially in the aroma, when you smell the aroma, you don't smell tobacco, you smell that floral essence.
Yeah, you smell a little bit grandmother.
Yeah. I describe and considering that I like Lakelands for the most part, my descriptor is probably kind of odd, but to me, the flavor and aroma of a lot of Lakeland tobaccos remind me of those little rose shaped soaps that grandma used to keep in the bathroom because they were very floral. They
Hmm.
had rose and geranium essences. And guess what they use in Lakelands? They use rose, geranium, and a number of other flavors.
Now, is there a reason? Is there a reason why they would focus on those smells?
Um, I would guess because the flavorings were readily available to
Okay.
use. That to me would make the most sense. Also, you got to remember this is a product that came originally from the UK, and the UK has some pretty strict laws, or had some pretty strict laws when it came to flavoring tobacco.
Okay.
And so only certain approved flavorings could be used, and they allowed those flavors back then. Basically, you could use floral, herbal, and liquor,
Okay.
and artificial flavorings couldn't be used back then.
Right. Right.
Today, you pretty much can use anything that's not proven to be harmful.
Well, I mean, in the states, they're starting to clamp down in certain states. Non-aromatic tobaccos are not being sold anymore.
Yeah, and that's for a totally different reason.
Okay.
They
Okay.
think that the added flavorings draw children to
I
trying
gotcha. I
tobacco.
gotcha.
And yeah, I tell you, there's all kinds of 7-year-olds down on the corner
Smoking a pipe.
with their Sheratons and Balkan Sassini puffing away. It's getting bad. We have to call the cops on them. The idea that flavored pipe tobacco is going
Yeah.
to attract a kid
It's
is
getting bad.
ridiculous.
Now, Russ, between the ribbon cut and the flake, is there any difference in Saint Bruno?
Um, I don't think most people would find much of a difference flavor wise.
I'm glad you said that.
I don't think they would. However, the flake is going to be more subtle in flavor if you fold and stuff it.
Right.
But that's not because of the tobacco, it's because of the cut.
I got you. Now, the flake being more expensive than the ribbon cut, I guess manual labor is taken into consideration there.
Yeah, I believe. See, in a lot of cases, when tobaccos are available in both forms, sometimes you get a flake, and you can also get a broken flake.
Right.
In which case, the price is going to be about the same because they have to go through the process of pressing it, breaking it apart. So the labor involved in both is fairly similar because when you break it apart, it's done by a machine. It's not done by hand.
Okay.
But in the case of St. Bruno, I think they're just applying the top dressing from the flake to a ribbon cut. And so there's less labor involved. The machine cuts it into a ribbon, they apply the flavor, put it in a pouch.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I enjoy both flake and ribbon cut,
Yeah,
but
I do
it's
too.
I haven't detected like I haven't detected a difference at all.
No, I don't either.
Okay. And what kind of person would smoke a Saint Bruno?
They have to be either traditionalists, and like the old English tobaccos, or they have to have a taste for the Lakeland style.
Okay. Okay.
I think the person who smokes over the counter burley blends, or people who like cherry aromatics, may not find St. Bruno to their liking. But
Yeah,
but that may not be true too. I mean,
I
everybody.
understand. I understand. Okay, Russ, our next blend is Peterson's Flake.
Yep.
That was Dunhill's Flake beforehand.
Right.
And this is not the dark flake. And I've had this for a year now, and it has darkened.
Oh well, sure.
And what I get from this, from the tint smell, is not much anymore, because once I open it, that's why I keep smelling it. Once I open it, it evaporates. It's gone, man.
Yeah, you've got to keep them sealed up to maintain the aroma. Um, what you're talking about there is a straight Virginia flake.
Okay.
It leans on the bright Virginias.
Really?
Yeah, even though it may not look like it.
Not at all.
When you press tobaccos, they darken immediately.
That's right.
So you can't tell from a Virginia flake if it's all bright or brights and reds, or you really can't tell once it's been pressed, and especially if it's got any age on it at all. You can't tell visually. This definitely leads with hay-like notes, with a little bit of grass, a little bit of citrus. They do use, I believe, some orange and red, but they're more in the background. But they do add a little bit of a bready or toasty note. This is going to really be for Virginia fans, and people who like tobaccos with a more mellow, natural flavor. Being Virginias, one of the reasons why there are so many Virginia flakes is that you're less likely to have heat issues if you fold and stuff a flake, or if you cube cut it.
Okay.
And so that's why there are so many Virginia flakes, because people like the flavor, but they don't like the heat.
I understand. And before coming on this show, I was just finishing a bowl of this, and for a Virginia, it's quite rich.
Yes.
And I don't get that richness. And I forgot to ask a great question on all these tobaccos. I don't get that richness from an Escudo.
Well, again, I mean, there's so many factors. Where are they sourcing the Virginias from? What are they using? Are they using tips, leaf, or cutter? Are they using a top dressing? What are they using for a casing? And Escudo, Escudo is more, to me, it's more bright and lively,
Okay.
because of the added spice of the Perique,
Okay.
and so it's zestier maybe.
I get you.
Where the Peterson flake is a rounder flavor, but has maybe a touch more depth.
And is that because of the casing or the tobacco itself?
I think they probably have some brown Virginias also
Okay.
In the flake, to add a little depth.
Okay, and it's funny. I just thought about it. Bright Virginias, uh, I guess less bright Virginias, red, I guess if you can say it, and brown Virginias. Now it's funny. The colors themselves will determine the depth of flavor.
Yeah, because it's a maturation process.
Okay, I got you.
You start out with bright Virginias, and then depending on what you do, you can darken those Virginias up.
Okay, okay. And does this cellar well?
Yes, yes.
Give me a good amount of time before I can pop open a tin to say,
5 years, really nice. 10 years, really good. 15 years or longer, sublime.
I don't know if I'm going to live that long, Russ.
Well, save a tin for when you know you're about ready.
Yeah, I get. I just had a visual.
I can just see now there's about 30 seconds of this that are going to wind up getting
Open
cut.
that pin. Sorry, man, that was funny.
That's
Okay, I'm gonna go back. Saint Bruno, does it cellar well?
Yeah, but not as well. Anytime you add a top dressing to a tobacco, it reduces the effectiveness of aging.
Escudo.
Oh yes, very well.
And what are we talking? Same thing. 5 years,
Yeah.
10 years.
5 years plus has a significant impact.
Now, if I have an Escudo tin and I'm in relatively good health, and I perceive living another 5 years, and the tin is 5 years, should I pop it open?
Well, the people who like to age their tobaccos typically will buy 3 or 4 tins
Right.
of the same tobacco, and then they have one set aside for 5 years, one for later. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, okay. This is a funny one. I tried to pick tobaccos which are well known and have been around a long time.
Yep.
Now, this is a bad thing, but Black XX Samuel Gawith rope twist.
Yep.
What's up with this?
You need two things to enjoy a bowl of the Black Double X. You need a good drink and a chair.
I thought you were going to say you got to eat and you need some nicotine tolerance.
You need a chair because you don't want to smoke it standing up. Odds are you will fall over at some point. And if you do have a chair, you want to make sure that you stay in that chair for 15 to 20 minutes after you finish the bowl.
Russ, you're scaring people here because I just had a bowl of this a couple of nights ago. And besides it being, it's, I don't know if it's an acquired taste, but after a certain many years of smoking, this is extremely creamy. The tin note is, it's just like there's a fire burning in out yonder, and there's a barbecue. There's a sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Just okay. Talk to me about this.
Okay, so you're talking about strong tobaccos.
And why is that? I want you to explain why is that in your dissertation here.
Okay, the Lakeland manufacturers, when they use Virginia, for the most part, they're using what used to be referred to as Empire Virginias. Empire tobaccos are tobaccos that were grown in countries that were part of the old British Empire.
I knew you were going there. I knew it.
So it could come from a number of African countries.
Right.
It could come from India.
Canada.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we don't talk about that. But and actually, there's some fantastic tobacco grown in Canada.
Yeah, good Virginias. Yeah.
Yeah. Not very high in nicotine, but flavorful as hell. But African Virginias, for the most part, is what they use, and those Virginias are potent. And I need to take a look at something quickly here because sometimes my memory just.
But I mean, why use a already strong nicotine plant and make it even stronger by steaming it, and why the twist?
Well, okay, the twist I'll get into as a separate item. But yeah, it's very potent because at one time these tobaccos were not only smoked, they were chewed.
God help them.
Yeah. And so the idea behind the rope goes back to the days of wooden sailing ships. They would bring their tobacco on board, but the ships were wood, so you weren't smoking on the ship.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay, so what they would do is they would take the tobacco and they would dip it in rum. And then they would take a leaf and they would nail it to a mast. And they'd start to twist it. And then they would add more leaves and they would keep twisting until they had this rope. And then they would coil the ropes up and they would put them into barrels, small barrels, for the trip. By being tightly rolled up, the salt air wouldn't penetrate the tobacco. And the pressure from rolling it up or twisting it up so tightly also helped to mature the tobacco even further. But the idea behind the rope is while on board ship, they could take that rope and cut a coin off and pop it in your mouth and chew it like regular chewing tobacco. The higher nicotine content helped because, the only place you're getting any of the nicotine is inside your mouth.
So what did that nicotine help do on a boat? Help you puke?
No. That if you're used to nicotine, when you're on land and you smoked a pipe and inhaled, which they did back then more commonly because they smoked in small pipes.
Right.
If your nicotine tolerance was fairly high, it was no big deal because even though it's high in nicotine, you've only got a limited surface area for your body to absorb the nicotine. If you inhale something, it gets into your system a lot faster.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
So it was more slow. So they would chew it on board ships. When they got to Liberty, they put their pipe in their pocket. They would still have that chunk of the rope. And then when they were on shore, they would slice it into smaller coins and they would break it up and stuff it into their pipe and smoke it. So it was a 2-for-1 deal.
These guys were men, for God's sake.
Yeah, reasonably so.
Now, this is Virginia, is that right?
That's straight Virginia.
Straight Virginia.
Yeah.
So how does this age?
It won't age tremendously well because it's already been heavily matured
Okay.
and flavored. So between the flavoring and being under pressure constantly,
it ain't gonna change much, eh?
It probably won't change significantly. If anything, some of that aromatic top dressing will begin to fade in 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay, so basically, you buy a tin like this, you're gonna smoke it. There's no reason to age a tin of Samuel Gawith Black XX finest candle twist. God.
Yeah, I don't age any of the Lakeland tobaccos.
And
buy it and smoke it.
And going back to, I smoked it a couple of days ago, and I guess my nicotine tolerance is quite high because I smoke about 4-5 bowls a day.
Yeah.
So it didn't give me a blast, but I nursed it. I didn't. I was respectful.
Yeah. It's definitely a potent tobacco. I mean, I definitely would not recommend somebody who's never smoked cigarettes and has only been smoking a pipe for a couple of years to try any of those ropes.
Even a couple of years, okay.
Yeah, I would want to be a little bit longer in my tenure before I took it up.
Now, if someone can smoke this without having any effect, can they smoke any tobacco in the world?
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go. I like hearing that. And what kind of person's going to smoke this? An old fart like me?
Well, certainly there are a number of old flatuses like yourself who enjoy tobaccos like that. I happen to fall into that category as well. But for example, if you're coming to a pipe from cigars and you smoked a lot of Nicaraguan or Cuban cigars, you'd probably be able to handle it just fine.
Okay.
If you used to be a cigarette smoker and came to pipes, you'll probably handle it just fine.
Okay, it's funny. Okay, I'm starting to looking back. Being Canadian, we can go to Cuba, no problem. And I remember in my first wife, we went to Cuba, and I just smoked cigars like crazy, and it was just a wonderful thing. And I remember having a Partagas Louisitania, and just in the sun, man, 3 hours. It was like I remember every puff of that cigar. And Nicaraguan was my next favorite type of smoke, man.
Sure.
So I guess that's that. Okay.
Yeah. I have a wonderful memory of an afternoon spent with a Bolivar Royal Corona.
I love Bolivar, man. It's just beautiful.
Well, I mean, of all of the Cuban cigars, Bolivar is the ballsiest.
But that was your choice?
Yeah. I love strong cigars. You know, if I can't have a Cuban, and I rarely can, I'll smoke something like a Hoya de Nicaragua Antaño, which is about as strong as they come.
Okay, well, look, you're invited over here to my place, and we can Cuban all night.
That sounds like a plan. My limited experience with Cubans, the only one that I shy away from, and it's not because I don't like them, but I shy away from the Mahdi number 2. And the reason is because they come from 3 different factories.
Okay.
If you get a Mahdi number 2 from the Partagas factory, it's going to smoke like a dream.
I got a story, but anyways,
the flavor is incredibly rich. They're well made. They smoke super well.
You're giving me shivers. Look,
But
you're talking to the choir here.
But if you get one from one of the other 2 factories, odds are probably 1 out of 4 that you're going to get one with a crappy draw.
Look, I had a Monte Cristo torpedo, if you can call it that. I forget what number that is, but it's the with the small tip, and it just gets bigger. And look, I smoke Cubans all my life because I'm in Canada. So Monte Cristo was fantastic. It was like a chocolate milk. It was just every time we had a Monte Cristo, it was an occasion. But Russ, my favorite brand in Cuba, I remember going to La Casa del Habano in Cuba.
Yep.
And being Italian, I could understand a little bit of Spanish, and I was saying, "Look, I want to buy those double Churchills Hoyo de Monterrey. Mm-hmm. I want to buy the double Churchills Hoyo. How much for a box of 25? $17." I said, "Give me 5. Give me 5 boxes right away." $17, not per cigar, and even then, per cigar, it's a steal for a box of 25, a double Churchills. Okay, stop. I brought back 17 boxes from Cuba to Montreal. Don't ask me how, people are listening. And those boxes lasted me, and I took care 5 years. But because I had Lusitanias, double Churchills, whatever. Okay, stop talking, Russ. Our next tobacco, and I just have it in writing here because I jar my tobaccos, is plum pudding.
Okay.
And Joe Langford just passed.
Yes.
Did you know him well?
Yes, I did. Joe, when plum pudding and Mississippi River first hit the market, I was the one actually making them. They came to us, and because they went to the larger companies, and they didn't either have the facility or they didn't want to press their tobaccos. And I happened to have a press that I was using for some of my tobaccos. So they approached us to do them. So I took Joe's recipes and mixed the tobaccos and pressed them and cut them and sent them out for tinning for Seattle Pipe Club. So early on, to make sure that we were doing everything right, we flew Joe and his wife to Albany, New York, and we had a few days together that we worked on it. And it was lovely to have both of them there. And I stayed in touch with Joe over the years. And then a little over 10 years ago, as a complication of undiagnosed diabetes, I wound up losing the lower part of my left leg. Now, Joe had congenital issues and also had prostheses. And so, not long after I had gotten my prosthesis and went to a show, I met up with Joe. And he and I sat for probably 3 or 4 hours where he was just, trying to get me to realize this isn't the end of anything for you. You can still do pretty much anything that you want to. It's just a matter of looking at it and saying, I'm not going to let it slow me down. And so, yes, Joe and I had a really good relationship. And I like Joe a lot. And a brilliant guy, too, on top of all of that. But yeah, so plum pudding I'm very familiar with. It's a real melange.
And really, it is. I mean, what I smell first, well, there's two things I smell first. It's the flour and the smoke. So I'm smelling what? Orientals and Latakia?
Yeah. Yep.
And again, in what you're going to be talking about, what's up with this is why crumble cake?
Okay. So let's approach.
Yeah, like what's up with this tobacco? What's up?
Yeah, let's approach it from a holistic viewpoint. It's Latakia, it's Orientals, it's Virginias, Black Cavendish. I don't believe there's any Burley in that one.
So basically, this is in English.
It's
Englishy.
If we were to give it a category the way that we look at them today, it would be in American English.
Okay.
Because it has Black Cavendish in it. And if it were brown Cavendish, it would be more of a Scottish blend. But this is an American English. Yeah. And the reason for the crumble cake is very straightforward. When Joe was making this for the members of the Seattle Pipe Club, before it became a commercial item, all he had to work with was cut tobaccos. So if he wanted to press it, he had to press cut tobacco, and that's what a crumble cake is. So when they moved the manufacturing to us, we had no access to whole leaf in the tobaccos that they were using. So we continued on doing crumble cakes.
Because it's become a thing now, crumble cakes.
Yeah, well, and again, crumble cakes are because you're using cut tobacco. Everything that I did, I had to do as a crumble cake.
But I mean, even at one point, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't have whole leaf. All I had access to was cut tobacco.
It's because I just spoke to Perry Jensen, I don't know when, and he says he made his Uno tobaccos, whimsical tobaccos. Is that Sutliff?
I believe they're made at Sutliff, but
okay.
Perry is the one who blended them.
And he said something about and I'm assuming he says that's the new trend now. Like I think
he's being kind. I think he's being kind.
Well, no, I understand 100%. And I know he was talking in a marketing aspect. Okay, I know 100% because he said it's the new trend now. And you saw that, oh, damn, I work for McBaron. McBaron pays my stuff. They're going to tell me how to market the tobacco. Basically, I mean, even though he's Perry Jensen, he like Bob Dylan says, he's got to serve somebody, you know.
Well, and McBaron owned Sutliff. And also, when you make a blend really complex, it would be very difficult to make it as a flake. I can be very precise. I can be very precise when I make a crumble cake.
Okay.
If it's 20% Virginia, 30%
Gotcha.
Latakia, I just weigh it out, make sure it's thoroughly mixed, put it in a mold and press it. I'm pretty sure that's going to be homogeneous and consistent. It's harder to do that when you're talking 20% of 5 different tobaccos, to make sure that everything is layered in the mold properly to get a flake to be consistent.
I got you, man. Okay, that's good to know.
It's a matter of ease of manufacture too.
Yes, of course. Okay, Russ, getting back to like, what's up with this, man?
Okay, smoky, sweet, a little spicy, slow burning tobacco, but it's extremely complex.
Yes, I think so.
It's not a mindless smoke.
No,
not the kind of thing that you want to load up and puff on while you're reading the newspaper. Do they even have newspapers anymore?
I don't even know what a newspaper is.
Yeah. It's something that you want to concentrate on the tobacco.
It's funny that you say that, because when I do my shows there and I'm trying to be funny, I call them philosophy tobaccos.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a tobacco that you want to be able to pay attention to your pipe while you're smoking. If I want to work on the computer, a bowl of Sir Walter Raleigh will do the job just fine.
I get you.
I'm not paying attention. It's a one-note tobacco, and I don't mean that in a negative sense.
I understand.
It's a one-note tobacco. It's easy to smoke, doesn't burn hot. You can puff on it mindlessly, doesn't matter. And you're getting the enjoyment from it, but you're not sitting there analyzing and picking it apart.
Yeah, it's got its place, man. It's got its place.
Yeah. So, but I wouldn't do that with a bowl of plum pudding. I think that would be an insult to the tobacco and the blender.
Yeah, because it's very deep, many layers, and I'm just talking for me. You can shut me up and call me stupid anytime. It's not a summer tobacco.
No, not for me anyway. That's definitely a fall tobacco. In fact, we had a couple of days that got down in the lower 70s recently, which was a real break, because we dealt with like a month of 90 plus. And I was looking on my shelf the other day, and I wanted just something to smoke, and I looked in the back, and there was a tin of tobacco tucked in the corner. And I saw it, and I grabbed it.
I can't see it, Joe.
Yeah, it might have a little bit too much light coming in here.
Okay, hold on. Syrian Star.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? Kill us?
It's McClelland.
Yeah.
McClelland Syrian Star, which obviously was made with Syrian Latakia.
Yeah.
And I saw that sitting in the corner of the shelf, and I thought, it's cool enough. And I took the tin and loaded up a bowl and went on my merry way.
Was it a wonderful way?
It was sublime.
Does this age well? Do we need to age this?
No. Latakia only softens. It doesn't age.
Okay.
You know, some of that smokiness will fade. There's not enough Virginia in there, um, that as it ages, it would have a huge impact on the flavor. So no, I would say that's a buy now, smoke now tobacco.
And did Joe Langford have a good palate?
Oh yeah, pretty obviously considering the number of different types of blends that
Okay.
he did.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna visit a lot more Seattle Pipe Club tobaccos, which there's one I enjoy very much, but that's for next time.
Okay.
And who's gonna smoke this, Russ? Old people, or hey, you want to smoke a pipe? Try this.
I actually have very little issue starting a newer pipe smoker off with Latakia blends. I think they're a good choice. They smoke cool. They have a lot of flavor, and that's one of the things that a newer pipe smoker is looking for.
Right.
And so, starting them out with Latakia blends makes a lot of sense to me. I know Greg Pease agrees with that. Um, so yeah, medium bodied Latakia blend I think is a good choice. That's a little heavier bodied maybe than I would start somebody with. But still, I would say that for pretty much any pipe smoker who enjoys a lot of flavor and has no objection to the smokiness of Latakia, they would probably enjoy it.
I know, and I agree with you 100%. Um,
Well,
it's funny
you
because
better.
young pipe smokers, and look, to each his own, and they're allowed to smoke it, but if they're not in tune with their senses, uh, it's like having a glass of wine to a regular wine drinker, and you have a 1926 Lafitte, a Baron Lafitte Rothschild. It's like, yes, it's good, but they're gonna miss all the depth, everything in there, because they don't have the education.
Well, yeah, and you can educate people to some degree, and some of it, unfortunately, is more of a natural ability.
Okay.
Um, I can I can sit down and eat a bowl of chili, and as I'm eating it, I can pretty much tell you what spices the person used to make it, where another person will sit down and eat it and they taste chili.
Right.
They can taste the whole, they can't taste
The
what makes up
individual.
the whole.
Yeah. Okay. And
And so for that reason, um,
you think it's a natural talent?
I think it is to some degree.
Can it be learned? Can the skill be taught?
It can be, but you got to work with somebody who really understands flavor.
Okay. Okay.
You know, if I sat down with somebody, um, probably what I would do is I would take the individual components of something and I would have them taste them one at a time
Okay.
so that they know what they're looking for
Right.
when they're smoking the blend.
And would you be the kind of teacher that if he doesn't get it, you give him a shot in the head?
Oh God, no, no! I would just take all their tobacco and smoke it. No, no, I'm not a violent person by any means. I'll just call them a name and walk away.
uh, J- um, Russ, look, we did our 5 blends. We're at 59 minutes and 56 seconds. This is beautiful. I wanted to keep it to 1 hour. I hope we can do more of these, Russ. This is fantastic. This is another thing. You know, it's a thing, Russ. It's a thing.
Yeah,
And
I no, I'm glad to do something like this because I think when you first broached the subject with me, I was like, I don't want to be reviewing somebody else's work.
no,
Because either people are going to hear what I have to say and they're going to say, "Oh, he's being politically correct. He may not like the tobacco, but he doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings." Or on the flip side, he just panned that tobacco because he doesn't like the company and he's trying to damage their reputation. I when you said you just wanted me to give you
the breakdown of the
the
tobacco.
breakdown, then I'm fine with that because I'm not telling anybody whether they should smoke it or shouldn't smoke it,
And no,
whether
Russ,
they're
and
going to like it.
you're in a position where it's detrimental to the whole bloody business. So that doesn't work. And I knew that, and I hoped we can figure a way to do this. And I'm not even going to say diplomatically because that's not even the case. I wanted it to be neutral. I wanted to say what's up with this tobacco, what's in it, what kind of people would like this. I never even asked you. You like it? Or
Yeah,
because it has no bearing whether you like it or not, Russ.
and on top of that, one of the things that's unique about this business is that we can be competitors and we can be friends at the same time. I'm on a very friendly basis with Jeremy Reeves from Cornell and Deal. Carl McAllister, who used to be the blender for Sutliff, and I are good friends. I'm friends with Mike and Mary McNeil from when McClelland was still around. So and Pear, I've worked with Pear a couple of times. We've had meals together. I mean, very nice man. So we're friends. I like these people. I wouldn't want
Yes.
to do anything to hurt any of them.
No, you know how much work is put into making a flake. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, Russ, I totally get it. There's no justification needed. If again I say anything that is mildly entrapping, but it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Because look,
No, I don't see it happening.
it's not gonna
And
happen.
I mean, if you happen to choose a tobacco, that's one of the few tobaccos that I absolutely can't stand. You'll hold it up, and there's going to be a pause before I start talking about it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I need the breakdown of that bloody tobacco.
I because I need to choke back the negative words
I get you.
about how I'm going to say it so that
Yes,
it comes across the best.
and that's beautiful. Russ, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you very much. I'm going to end this broadcast. Man, what a blast. It's always a blast, Russ. You kill me. You kill me.
Hey, if I can't have some fun
That's
with
not
what
worth
I'm
it.
doing, look, I'm at an age right now where a lot of people are sitting on their ass in Florida, feeding the seagulls.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay,
know. Yeah.
I'm still doing what I'm doing because I love what I do, but yeah. So
Okay.
if I can't enjoy what I'm doing, I don't want to do it.
Same here. Let me cut this, Russ.
Okay,
Thank you very much, man.
you're welcome.